sir.
This is Wildlife Biology at the Air Corps for what's wild in New Hampshire. We're going to do a quick shot of Harry over there. Harry Vogel from the Loon Center. Harry, how did Loons do this summer?
How did they fare? Yeah, so it was actually not a bad year for loons this year, which is great to be able to report because the last 2 years have not been great for loons. So
Despite the early spring rain, this is surprising.
even the early spring rain, a lot of that was I think just kind of kept people off the lake. We had all those rainy weekends in a row.
Also,
And
so by
people
not
stayed
being
off the
fewer
lake,
people.
So loons did not mind that at all, and they got to business and they did their stuff.
Wow,
And,
that's an interesting take.
so that was good. I mean, in 2023, we had a very rainy year. It was in fact a record rainy year. Loons did terribly because a lot of their nests were washed out by these heavy rain events. Last year, less rain but more heat. It was a record hot June and July, peak nesting period. So again, loons really kind of suffered. This year, just a little bit more moderate, and loons were able to, achieve what we're always going for is that 0.48 chicks surviving per territorial pair, and that's the number that research done by Loon Preservation Committee and other organizations have identified as the minimum necessary to maintain a stable wildlife population. Stable loon population. And of course, we want to do more than just maintain. We want to continue to recover these populations. So this year, we are nose above water. We are above 0.48 for the first time in several years.
Wow.
Happy to, be able to report that. I mean, close to 1 out of every 3 loon chicks hatched in the state came from a raft floated by Loon Preservation Committee staff.
So management is working?
Yep. And more than 1 out of every 2 loon chicks came from a nest that was protected by signs and rope lines. So intensive management, once again, happened to pull out a win for this year. So we're pretty happy to at least be able to report that.
How many pairs?
So about a little bit under 370 pairs, 368, and these numbers are all still tentative because we're going through a pretty exhaustive checking and rechecking and collating process right now, but at least tentatively it seems like, and that was a record number, of loon pairs, record number of nesting pairs, record number of chicks hatched, record number of chicks surviving, but those all represent small, marginal increases over what has happened in the past years.
Rewind the clock. How long has it taken to get here? How long has the Loon Preservation Committee been working on this? And give us a sense of where it's come.
Yeah, so I mean, we're actually celebrating our 50th anniversary this year. So
Get out. Wow.
We began as, a self-funded, self-directed project of New Hampshire Audubon way back in 1975. Our first statewide surveys were in 1976, and those showed fewer than 100 pairs of loons.
Fewer than 100 pairs.
Yeah, and some amazing statistics. I was just researching this for our 50-year report. So we had 1 chick hatched in 1976 on Lake Winnipesaukee. We had 1 chick hatched in all of Hillsborough County, and we had only 3 loon chicks south of the capital here in Concord in that time. So we've definitely come a long way since then, but it's been hard won. These gains have
50 years of work is what it's taken.
50 years of work, right. And we're now at about 4 times the number of loons that we had back in those really quiet days, back in the mid-1970s.
Well, staff work and a lot of volunteers. Let's give a shout out to the volunteers, right?
Close to 1,000 volunteers throughout the state, and these people, they do everything from monitoring loons during our loon census, which is the 3rd Saturday of July. They keep track of loons throughout the field season and report back to us. They help us float rafts, they help us float signs. They act as advocates for loons on our lakes and talk to people about loons and their issues. So we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it without our volunteers, right? And that's a familiar story to all of the nonprofits.
So we all, including the loons, appreciate the volunteers and the fine work up at the Loon Committee.
Well, thank you, Eric. We're trying.
All right, a record year. We just heard it from the top notch here. You had a great year. New Hampshire had a great year for loons. Thank you so much, Harry.
Great. Thanks,
Very
Eric.
good. You're welcome. Bye bye.